Is this it? It's a poor lad. That is one sensational try. 3 in a row, the Saints. The three-peat is achieved. An 8th grand final win for the Red Bee.
We kicked off at the Totally Wicked Stadium on the 10th of February. 7 months, 166 games, 7,016 points later, only 2 sides and 1 game remain.
Celebrate 25 years of grand final glory.
Robinson, what a try!
The culmination of the Betfred Super League season. At the iconic Old Trafford. Bring on the atmosphere. Bring on breathtaking moments. Bring on history. Betfred Super League Grand Final. Bring it on.
Yes, Saturday, 6 o'clock. Tickets are still available for our showpiece. Eddie Hemmings alongside me and Kevin Brown as well. Eddie, this is the 25th Grand Final. You commentated on the very first one back in 1998. We've got a hell of a final, I think.
We have a quarter of a century. I think I've done 21 of them. I worked it out this morning, I think. Some memorable moments. And at this time of the year, you always get the juices flowing. You always get a shiver down your back because this is what it's all about. You know, they've been, as you say, you've been playing all that long to get to this stage. Not the final that a lot of people tipped. Mind you, I tipped Warrington to have a good year and I tipped Wigan Saints, so what do I know? But, you know, it's not the final that everybody thought it was going to be, but it could be an absolute classic, this.
And, of course, Leeds have done it before from 5th as well, haven't they?
They have, and you couldn't bet against them the way they've travelled the last 10 weeks. They've beat every other side that were in the playoffs apart from Saints, so they're almost battle-hardened as well. Their playoffs started a week before away at Castleford, then they went away to
minutes from going out against Cass.
Well, yeah, who would have thought when Rowan Smith came over that it would have such an impact that I don't even think Gary Everington in his wildest dreams could think, you know, he's the man, he's going to get us to a grand final, maybe next year or the year after, not this year, but what a coaching masterclass. I think the way that he's picked his side, you know, Jared O'Connor, I think he's been a revelation.
Well, I said to Gary at Wigan on Friday night, I said, look, you were a big price in April to reach a grand final, and he said, I had as a bigger price than you did. So Gary was surprised.
At that point, I think they would have, you know, the odds would have been better for him to get relegated than finishing a grand final. The way they
said
were
last night there was more chance of Elvis rocking up. He was shorter odds than Leeds reaching the final. That's a job Ron Smith's done.
Yes, he's done a magnificent job. I think they were next to bottom.
Yep.
People were talking about relegation. They've been in and out until this stage of the season, and they have been absolutely magnificent. They've coming from 5th, as you rightly say, Mark. They've done it before. If it rains on Saturday, look out, because Leeds know how to play wet weather football. And I did a little bit of research last night as well. I hope I'm right. Leeds and Saints, this is the 5th meeting. St Helens have not beaten them in a grand final yet.
Yeah, and obviously we remember those games as well, don't we? 2007, 2008, 2009. Then Saints lost to Wigan, then lost to Leeds again in 2011.
That's right.
Now, the only one who would have the scars, and I doubt he carries scars, is James Roby.
Yeah, that's true, yes. And, you know, it's a fantastic end to a fantastic season for James Roby. This time a month ago, it was will he, won't he? Is he going? Is he staying? What's he doing? He's going round again. I remember doing a function at St Helens for the Alex Walmsley testimonial. There's a name who's missing, of course, on Saturday. And Morgan Knowles. 2 big blows for St Helens. I remember saying to James Roby, are you going to go around again? And he said, we'll know soon, we'll know soon. I got the feeling he might do. But the thing I said to him, it's his body. It's how he feels today, whether he can carry on for 12 more months. And what a player he is. Yeah. They're going to have to get,
the performance levels are still there.
They're going to have to get some more bronze, aren't they, at St Helens? There's got to be another statue.
Right, we're going to talk more about the grand final in detail. But first of all, let's turn our attention to the Steve Prescott MBE Man of Steel Award. It was Brodie Croft from Salford who won it. And afterwards, he spoke to our man Lewis.
Brodie Croft, 2022, Steve Prescott, Man of Steel winner. How does that sound?
Yeah, I don't think it's sunk in yet. Yeah, wow. I was with the two other contenders with Field there and Wellesby. They've had some unbelievable seasons themselves, in some higher teams themselves as well. So I don't know. And also coming into tonight, I was pretty low on the leaderboard, so I didn't really have the highest expectations. But yeah, I'm just hugely honoured and humbled to receive this. And yeah, as I said in my speech, I think it's a real reflection of the people I've been surrounded with this year. So I've been very blessed and fortunate to be in a special place this year.
I'm not sure if you've had a chance to look at the list, but I'm sure when you do that the list of players that have previously held that trophy, it is an incredibly prestigious thing, isn't it?
Oh, hugely. Yeah, some of the names on that list, I went through it a little bit the other day, I think, just briefly, and yeah, to know that my name's going to be amongst those guys now, well, like as I said, I don't think it's sunk in, but yeah, I'm just blessed to be a part of this season at Salford, and it's unfortunate we're not there in the big dance this week because that would have really topped it off, but yeah, it certainly is really special to be named amongst those other guys on the list.
Well done to Brodie Croft. He has been brilliant at the back end of the season for Salford. Unfortunately, he wasn't in that semi-final against St Helens, and they missed him, and obviously they missed Andy Ackers going off early as well, Salford.
Oh, miss probably an understatement. They were devastated. I think Chris Atkins stood up and did a great job, but you know, he didn't do a man of steel job. What Brodie Croft was doing week in, week out, especially at the end of the season, he was just grabbing the game by the scruff of the neck. If he weren't putting someone through, he was running through himself, and the impact that he's had, you know, in the previous semi-final, in that 40 minutes that he did play, was massive. But then, yeah, the loss of Andy Ackers compounded that, and I thought that was a bigger loss with Vermeer coming on. He was probably more on for come on, you know, late in the game at loose forward, and I just thought his skill really let, you know, the rest of the team down, and it was a real tough day. I think he did 60 odd tackles, so fair play to him, but you could see the quality was distinctively missing, and you know, full credit to Salford how close they still got it without them too.
Yeah, and there's some similarities with Jackson Hastings, who won it in 2019. He was a Salford player as well. Jackson had fallen out of love with the game, and Brodie, for different reasons, had fallen out of love with the game, and then come to Salford, and we all heard last night he's just reinvigorated and he's a man of steel. Yeah,
and speaking to, I obviously speak to a lot of the Salford lads, how much of a teammate he is. I think that's what's come through in abundance, and what Paul Rowley's let him do is be himself, give him confidence, and it's clear he's a good player. He's played at Melbourne with Munster and the best players, and Smith, and then gone to Brisbane, but he was a very young halfback, and you know, as an halfback, I know myself, it takes you a long time to actually understand the game enough to dictate to real senior players. So I think he was on the end of, you know, some media criticism in Australia. He's come over here, found himself, but wow, what a player. But they've got a big job on their hands now to keep hold of him, because, you know, obviously the players do get handpicked, especially man of steels from Salford. So
he didn't really answer Brian Carney's question, did he?
He didn't. Brian pushed him as hard as he could. He said it was a question he was asking on behalf of Ian Blease, the Salford CEO, which I could understand.
Hey, fair play to Ian Blease. He found Jackson Hastings and brought him over, and obviously Brodie Croft.
I hope lightning doesn't strike twice. I mean, Salford have done a fantastic job with Hastings, and then he gets a man of steel, bye-bye. Brodie Croft gets man of steel, and he, as you say, he didn't commit 100%. Yes, he says, I like Super League. Yes, I'd like to stay at Super League. He never said, I'd like to stay at Salford. I have a horrible feeling that he might be on his way, but for Salford's sake, I hope not, because he has been sensational. I think the thing that was missing in the semi-final was Brodie Croft against Johnny Lomax. Yeah. That would have been a contest and a half, because
Lomax was superb.
Lomax, Mark, has been superb year after year after year, and he never gets mentioned. I feel sorry for him. He never gets mentioned.
He's not in the running for them. I honestly think he's the best player in the league. He was the best player on the field by a mile at the weekend, but because there's so many good players in that side...
Well, Wellesby gets the points.
Yeah.
Wellesby was obviously...
Well, Wellesby's probably up against it, because Johnny will get some points, Robes will get some points, making
sense. Well, it's the same for Jay Field, Bevan French.
Yeah, well, definitely. For me, I think Jay Field has been the most entertaining person in Super League I've ever seen.
That's because of where you live.
Yeah, well, yeah, I am back. But it's a combination, isn't it? It's Field and French.
Jay Field's been brilliant. And if you think of, obviously, the season before, what did he... The hamstring. And to come back this year, he has been fantastic at Jay Field, hasn't he?
Yeah. And I think off the back of that, I think you've got to look at the coaches. Obviously, Matt Peake got the Coach of the Year. He's transformed that side. The way they're attacking last year was nothing like. And the same with Paul Rowley. I thought, you know, whoever got it out of them two, and Christian, but Christian's sort of, I don't know, everyone expects it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a shoo-in for the man who finishes top of the table. He always seems to get it.
Paul Rowley, I thought, you could look across the board, like Andy Ackers, Mark Sneed, everyone for me at that club.
He's come from nowhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely nowhere. You know, it's a tremendous story, the Salford story. I just hope again they don't have this, you know, mass exodus. And the big clubs will come and try and cherry pick. You know, there's no question about that. They will try and get Brodie Croft. One of them will try and come and get Brodie Croft. I'm 100% convinced, as they did with Jackson Hastings. But, you know, fingers crossed, Salford hang on to them, because they have been a breath of fresh air in the back end of this season. They really have. And from absolutely nowhere. The thing that niggles me, and Mark knows this, is that Brodie Croft is an Australian, and I'm, you know, patriotic, xenophobic, whatever you want to call me. I think British players should get our awards. Now, that's my personal opinion. When they come from Australia, people here go, whoa, hang on, where's he come from? Wow, what an impact this guy's making. How good is this fella? Because I haven't seen him week on week on week. Johnny Lomax, you're right, has been the best player in the competition for years and never gets a mention.
Jack Welsby must have been close, and Jack Welsby got Young Player of the Year. I wish
he'd have made history and got Young Player and Man of Steel in the one hit. But, you know, twice in a row, Young Player of the Year, fantastic. He is a star. Jack Welsby is a star, no question. When he scored that last second try in the grand final at Hull, behind closed doors in 2020, it was the second best try that St Helens have ever scored, OK? We all know what the first best try is. But it was a great moment for Jack Welsby.
And he's doing it without nailing down a position. Yeah, I still don't know what his best position is. I think it'd be full-back. But at the minute, obviously, Lewis Dodd's out, so he's making a great fist of it at half-back.
Let's just wrap up a couple of Wigan things then. So we mentioned Matt Peake got the Coach of the Year. Look, I've seen a lot of people on social media questioning it. He's won the Challenge Cup. He's got Wigan playing a hell of a lot better rugby. He's got the old Wigan back in the community as well, hasn't he?
I don't know how you can argue with it. I think, you know, apart from Saints, they're the second best team consistently, but they've won a trophy. So, and you look, well, you're right, where they come from, he's transformed them. I don't see how that, you know, you can argue with that. You know, if Christian had got it or Paul Rowley, I wouldn't have had an argument with that either. But for me, I think that is a great choice. I think Matt Peake's done a sensational job. They are out in the community. The crowds have gone up. The style of football they're playing is amazing to watch. And the winning games, they were disappointed against Leeds and they've gone out. But, you know, you can't just win everything.
Until that game, they were unbeaten at home.
They were brilliant.
And they played some fantastic stuff. Here's a question for what price Mark Applegarth at Wakefield for Coach of the Year next year? Because Wakefield, to me, seems to be following the Wigan pattern. Matty Peake comes in, takes similar the juniors through, similar profile. Mark Applegarth comes from nowhere. Have you got a price for me for Mark Applegarth?
I haven't yet, but I'll work it out for you.
He's got no Sean Wayne above him either, though, has he?
No, well, that's the no Lee Breers, no Sean O'Loughlin, no Sean Wayne.
No Bevan French.
No.
And Bevan French staying for 2 years at least.
Will Wakefield in for him? I wonder if Wakefield will have to Bevan French.
Huge boost.
Massive boost for Wigan, massive boost for the Super League. My old mate in Australia, Steve-O, gave me the tip 4 weeks ago that Bevan French was the subject of an $800,000 a year bid from a couple of clubs in Australia. Now, if you do the maths, that's about £400,000 per season. Now, he might have been well wide of the mark. By the sound of things, he was, because he signed a dotted line at Wigan. But it's great that Bevan French is there, and with Jay Field as well. You know, they have speed to burn.
Yeah, great to watch, and you want to watch. Right, but obviously no joy on Friday night. It was Leeds that were victors, let's say, from skipper Cruz leaving.
You see by the state of your shirt that was a hard-fought game, especially that first half. Did the defensive effort almost give you confidence that it was on in the second half?
Yeah, I think we've been good defensively towards back end of the year, and I think, you know, when you're getting into these games back end, you've got to be good defensively. Games are not won. These important games, they're definitely not won on attack, so I think that's something that we've worked really hard at, and we've got a little bit of cohesion now together. There's still some improvements in us, but I think we've been brilliant defending the zone line, and to repel them set after set after set there were a really good effort, and I think that's what got us over the line.
And even when you were playing most of the game without the ball and in the wrong areas of the pitch, there just seems to be a sense of calmness and composure. Is that almost kind of product of the win against Catalans last week, for example, and the one against Castleford before that, and some of those tougher wins?
I think it's product of what Rowan's brought in, and I think it's a reflection on his character and the way he is. Sometimes I think he's so laid back. Sometimes the lads worry about how laid back he is, and the ethos that he's got around things of just, if they score a try, just don't let them score another one. Don't worry about it, it's already gone. And the fact that if they've got back-to-back sets on his line, don't worry, just defend them. We'll get the ball back, and when we get the ball back, we'll go upfield and we'll put them under a little bit of pressure. And I think what he's brought in is we don't waste any energy. We don't waste any energy worrying about things we can't control, and I think that's what gets us over the line.
Leeds' first grand final since 2017. They've won a grand final on 8 occasions. The same St Helens have also won it on 8 as well. They're the outsiders, but I think plenty of people will fancy Leeds.
Yeah, definitely. I think, what he's saying there, they went to Wigan with a plan, and it was definitely a defensive plan. You could see that by the team selection. Cruz Leeming, the club captain, on the bench, one of the best players. Jared O'Connor comes in. People might have been scratching their head, but for a couple of weeks, he's been unbelievable.
He was brilliant at Catalan as well, wasn't he?
And they got demolished for the first 30 minutes at Wigan. Like, territory-wise, play the balls in the wrong areas.
They got battered, but it was only 4-2 to Wigan.
And that shows the resilience, the plan that they went there, and then that frustration that they put into Wigan. You could clearly see it boiled over with John Bateman. And then when they got the chances, it's nothing flamboyant, and that's probably the hard thing for St Helens reviewing this side. There's no Jay Field to go after. We shut him down, we're all right. The contribution in attack is spread quite evenly across the team. They're very, very patient, and they go after you with the defence and the kicking game.
Do you think that's what they'll do on Saturday? Try and stifle Saints in the beginning?
I think they might have to. I think Saints will come at them just as Wigan did in the semi-final. Interesting to see Cruz Leeming, as you say, he's being kept out of the side at the moment from the starting lineup anyway by Jared O'Connor. And Brad Dwyer can't even get a run on the bench because Jared is playing so well. Leeds defended magnificently against Wigan last week, and then they did have the wherewithal to strike forward. Now, John Bateman got 3 matches for the challenge on Aidan Caesar. That's a blow for Leeds.
He was beginning to play well as well, wasn't he?
Yes, concussed. He will not play in the grand final. I wonder if that will be.
They've got a couple of options. Cameron Smith's been good in that position. Cruz Leeming could come in.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure whether they go Reece Martin to centre, Zach Hardacre to fullback, and Richie Myler to halfback. That almost seems like too much disruption for me. I think they might just put Cruz Leeming in there. He was awesome at the start of the year when he played that role.
The thing about Jared is he's not a hooker. He was never ever a hooker, was he? He was a loose forward. Played, I think, in the centres. And I thought a lovely moment at the weekend when his dad, he ditched the studio at Sky and he came down to the touchline for the second half, apparently, to see our Jared. And he got on the field with him, and he gave him a
he went
love
to Catalan as well, didn't he? He must be so proud.
He is absolutely. He's proud. And Terry himself says he was, he admits he was just a fat kid from Widnes who got a chance in rugby league. And Jared is an athlete. There's no question about that. And Jared can follow Terry now in winning a grand final. There'll be 2 winners' rings in that family. I love Terry O'Connor to bits and Barry and all the lads, but that would just be fantastic for the O'Connor family. It really would.
Well, let's talk about Saturday's semi-final. That was a cracker. And after the game, Lewis caught up with Mark Percival.
Mark, congratulations. That was a proper semi-final, wasn't it?
Oh, mate, they've been great all year, Salford, and it's been a tough game to get out there. And it's just nice to be back in with the lads and winning, so it was a good game.
And we could see from your head and your knee and Barry's own
that was.
Well,
my knees,
battle, wasn't it?
I've got a gash on my knee and a gash on my eye, so I'll be getting stitched up and ready for next week. But it was all credit to Salford. It was a tough game, and it was just, they've been brilliant all year, and we wanted to obviously put on a good game today, and we both did that.
And 4 grand finals in a row, that's some achievement for this club, isn't it?
Oh mate, it's massive. We spoke about it, everyone's got their own story, and we just wanted to get there, and I'm having a crack at it because everyone knows there's no better than walking out at Old Trafford.
Just the word on Christian Wolf, obviously, you're sending him to Old Trafford for his last game as a Saints coach. How much would it mean to win it for him?
Oh mate, it'd be unbelievable. Wolfie's done massive for this club, taking over after what Justin done. He's took us to another level, and he's a great bloke as well. I wish him all the best, but he's not finished yet. We want to doing proud and getting the win next week. But like I said, it's just about preparing now for Leeds next week and getting our heads down again.
You've been involved in plenty of them. How special is Grand Final week?
Oh mate, for my first one in 2014, it's special, and for ones that have never done it before, it's mad walking out of there. You can never quite believe it, and I'm looking forward to doing it again, especially with this group. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, Grand Final week, very, very special. And if Saints do it, that is 4 in a row, which no club has ever done.
No, and I remember playing against Wigan when Sean Wayne was leaving, and the emotion surrounding that game is going to be very similar with Christian.
That was his fault in the interview.
You're right.
Yeah, so that emotion, that they'll draw on that, the experience they've got of doing it before, but you can't write off Leeds. Like, the momentum they've got behind them, it's going to be an absolute cracker.
And Christian Wolff is leaving St Helens. Matt Pryor is leaving Leeds. He's retiring. Liam Sutcliffe is leaving Leeds as well. There are so many
few
subplots.
players in the 2017
exactly.
squad. Yeah,
so many subplots in this. Conrad Hurrell against Leeds Rhinos and James Bentley,
yeah.
Will be looking to batter everything in the,
he played well on Friday night.
Oh, he did play well.
He played very well on Friday night.
He actually got his temper under control, I think, on Friday.
He's been good throughout the playoffs.
Yeah. Oh, he's strong.
He's looked back to himself.
Mark Percival looked in the right mess. He's only just back, but he's he's got a bandage on his head and he's got a bad knee. So just fingers crossed he's going to make it. But if any club deserves to make history, it's St Helens. 4 in a row would be an historic night for them. But Leeds beat them 3 times in successive grand finals. They've never made it 4 in a row. There's another subplot. Leeds will be desperate.
Beat them 4 years out of 5.
They've been 4 years out of 5, but not 4 in a row. They will be desperate to stop St Helens rewriting the history books. It's going to be sensational.
Yeah, there's so many subplots, as Eddie said, ahead of the 6 o'clock kickoff on Saturday. Next weekend, by the way, we'll bring you the League One playoff final, the League One playoff final here on the Sportsman, your home of rugby league.
You're watching Sportsman Rugby League. Subscribe for exclusive content.
And congratulations to the Leeds Rhinos, who won the Betfred Women's Super League final last Sunday. So congratulations to them. Right, let's find out what the fans are thinking ahead of the grand final. Let's hear from the St Helens and hear from Dave from the Red V Net.
I think it's a very special time to be a Saints fan. There's currently a young generation of fans growing up who don't know what it's like to go without success. For those of us a little bit older, we've been through the bad times of losing finals year in, year out. So once you get this obviously he came on board, taking over from Justin Holbrook, who had, to be fair to Justin Holbrook, had turned the club around after Kieran Cunningham's reign and got us back on track. And people thought that Saints side in 2019 was a great side. But Christian Wolff has took us to another level. Our defensive players, NRL-esque, were ruthless. And to think at the start, obviously pre-COVID, when he first came in, he was under pressure a little bit because he was trying to transform the team and mould it into what he wants to see. And at first, it probably wasn't going to plan. Obviously, COVID hit. He got more chance to probably work with the players. And then after that, when we came back, it's been relentless. And he's going to be an absolute great miss at the club. If he wins on Saturday, you have to say he'd probably go down as probably our most successful, greatest ever coach. And I don't think that's a stretch by any means.
I've just heard Dave say a very special time to be a Saints fan, and no team has ever won 4 in a row. Well, Leeds fans must be in dreamland as well at the moment. They were just 1 point clear of a relegation zone when Rowan Smith joined the club in April, and now they're in the grand final. Let's get the view from the South Stand with Eddie from the Lot 17 podcast.
I was just buzzing. Couldn't stop smiling. Couldn't stop. I had like all the Leeds chants stuck in my head, driving my wife mad, just saying, "Can you please stop?" I just so unexpected, from where we were. under Agar in a relegation battle, which we were. We were in a relegation battle, as much as Leeds fans don't like to hear that. We definitely were. To where we are now, it's that cliche of when we were under Agar sitting in 11th, and someone come along and said, right, I'll give you this new coach. You never heard of him. But he's going to take you to a grand final this year. You'd be like, what? Snap your hand off. But just, yeah. Still on cloud nine now. I'm not stopped smiling. I don't think I will stop smiling until kick off. That's when the nerves will kick in on Saturday. The way, especially the defence, the way that we defended the last 2 games, to be honest, Catalan and Wigan, if we can kind of keep that solid, keep the score manageable, keep it close, give ourselves a chance. I do think we'll win, but I think we win every game. I think it'll be close. But trying to nullify Saints, who have got that recent pedigree. Fair enough, Leeds have beat Saints in numerous grand finals previously. But this new generation is Saints' generation. So it's up to Leeds to kind of start their journey again and try to get one over Saints and create another dynasty, hopefully.
Thanks to Eddie from the Lot 17 podcast. Thanks from Dave for Red V Net as well. There'll be plenty of Saints and Leeds fans there on Saturday. Tickets are still available. If you've never been before, it is superb. The atmosphere is fantastic. The build-up is brilliant. But it's prediction time, Eddie. When you worked for Sky, I never used to ask you prediction. No. But now you're allowed.
I didn't have a view then.
Now you're allowed to make a prediction.
Listen, the heart says St Helens to make history. I think that they're a great, great club. The head says Leeds could easily nick it. Easily, the way they've been playing at the back end of this season. As I said before, if it rains, look out St Helens, because they know how to play. I mean, I know it was under Brian McDermott the last 2 times they won it from 5th place, but as a club, they can look back on that, and they have that history.
It doesn't really matter who 5th now, does it? They're in the final.
No, well, they're either 1st or 2nd, depending what happens on Saturday. So I'm going to go for Golden Point extra time and St Helens.
It's a tough one. I just feel with the emotion around Christian Wolf, I just think they've earned the right to be favourites, and I don't think you can write them off. They'll get a couple back. I think Saints by 10.
Oh, a big win.
Saints by 10. Handicap at the moment is 6. Right, going to get some more thoughts about the actual occasion of a grand final before we finish. But before then, let's get Try of the Week.
Welcome to Try of the Week. I'm Ross Fiddies, and here are this week's contenders. Try number 1, and it's the first of the Super League semi-final playoffs. Liam Marshall, he's in at the corner. What a pass from Harry Smith, and what a try from Marshall. He angles the body perfectly, goes for a leap in the air, and his right hand touches down to open the scores. To the second semi-final playoff for try number 2, and Salford hoping to claw it back here. Laffey with the flick pass to Burgess on the edge. Burgess flying down the field, and with a pass back on the inside to Brierley. He's got Sneed in support, but he doesn't need it. And Brierley, he dives over for Salford Red Devils. Try number 3, and it's the Women's Super League Grand Final. York on the attack. Sinead Peach slicing through the defence. Leeds were caught off guard there, but they're on the chase here. Peach is dragged to the ground, but she reaches out, and it's a try for York. Try number 4, and to the Championship playoffs now, in a close contest between Halifax and York. Dufresne with a looping pass to Wormsley on the edge, and he's over in the corner for Halifax Panthers. Try number 5, and we stick with the same fixture. York on the attack this time, and Chris Clarkson sidestepping around the defence. Clarkson looking for the offload, but continues to tease the line. He gets it out to Harris though, who spots a gap and darts through at speed, and he pulls York right back into the game. To the League One playoffs for try number 6, Swinton closing in on Doncaster. Hanson out to Gregson. Gregson to Abram to Mike Butt, who charges onto the ball at speed, and there he goes. He crosses over for Swinton in the corner. Try number 7, and it's the Women's Super League Shield final. Georgia Sutherland breaks through the defence and fends off some more. She looks to be away here, and Featherstone just can't keep up. Georgia Sutherland crosses over, and Warrington secure promotion to Women's Super League 1. And finally, try number 8, back to the Championship. Batley threatening the Barrow line. It's a quick offload to Hooley and another one to Leak, but an ankle tap drags him down. He rolls over at speed though, and it's some try for Batley Bulldogs. 8 tries, but only 1 winner. Head to the R-League app now to vote for your favourite.
Yeah, please vote for your favourite. Right then, gents. Still plenty more rugby to come, not just the grand final. We've got the end of the championship. We've got those playoffs this weekend. We've got the League One as well. And then we've got the World Cup to look forward to as well. We'll have plenty more shows coming up on the Sportsman as well. We've got that live feed next weekend of that League One playoff final. Right. Eddie, 21 grand finals you commentated on. I love the build-up from about 20 to 6. We have Jerusalem, don't we? We have the military involved, and we have the atmosphere is just special. What is it about the grand final?
It's a special night. It's a special stadium, and that's coming from a Liverpool fan. It is a special stadium, the Theatre of Dreams. It's a game that's played under lights. Autumn is just creeping in. I remember the very first one in 1998. You know, we were told it would never work. What, under the lights, 6 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday night, people won't come. People did come. People came in their droves, and we felt that was good. Then it became a sellout. And then we had COVID and everything else, and so things have been different. But as you drive into the game, you know, I mean, we used to do 70, 80 commentaries a season, and they were all special in their own way, but nothing like grand final night. And you turn up and there's, you know, the pre-match entertainment. There's madness one year, and then the madness started once the bell went and out they came and the whistle blew. You know, it is just the best night of the year as far as rugby league is concerned. I think, honestly, now it overshadows Wembley. I know Wembley has all the tradition, but Old Trafford, grand final night, you have to be at your optimum best as a player. If you aren't at your optimum best as a player, you go home empty-handed, and that must be a heartbreaking moment. We've had so many great memories of Rob Burrows' try, Sean Long's drop goal, Chris Joynt's voluntary tackle. You know, the stories are magnificent, each and every one of them. Great night, great. Get there.
And Rob
if
Burrows,
you can get there.
Rob Burrows' try was Leeds beating St Helens, wasn't it?
It was.
2011, what a try that was. What's it like walking out then?
Oh, well, I've been there as a fan. I've walked out, and I was lucky enough to walk the trophy out last year, and it is the Theatre of Dreams. And they say don't meet your heroes because you might be underwhelmed, but when you do it, it is the best thing. Your eyes are wide open, the adrenaline, the hairs on the back of your neck. It always sounds the same and it always smells the same, and I'll never forget that sound and smell until the day I die. And whether there as a fan or when I was a player, it was just the best night. You knew all the work throughout the season. You were the ones that had put everything in, consistently the best teams. You were there on merit, and that's the difference for me over the Challenge Cup. You're there on merit over a consistent, long season. All that hard work in the pre-season, it is the best. Even if you're 1 point away from relegation midway through the season.
Well,
yeah,
but you
never give up.
You peak at the right time. I say it's better than Wembley. Player?
I think it's better than Wembley. I'm not sure it's better than Tottenham.
Gents, really enjoyed it. 6 o'clock Saturday night. St Helens have won the grand final on 8 occasions. Leeds have won it 8 times as well. St Helens are going for 4 consecutive grand final wins. No team has ever done that before. It's set up to be an absolute cracker. 6 o'clock Saturday night.
Celebrate 25 years of grand final glory. The culmination of the Betfred Super League season. At the iconic Old Trafford. Bring on the atmosphere. Bring on breathtaking moments. Bring on history. Betfred Super League Grand Final. Bring it on.